안녕하세요. 산타 잉글리시입니다. 오늘은 Magic Treehouse Book 17, Tonight on the Titanic 책을 처음부터 끝까지 읽어보도록 하겠습니다. Prologue. One day in Fall Creek, Pennsylvania, a mysterious treehouse appeared in the woods. 8-year-old Jack and his 7-year-old sister Annie climbed into the treehouse. They found it was filled with books. Jack and Annie soon discovered that the treehouse was magic. It could take them to the places in the books. All they had to do was to point to a picture and wish to go there. Along the way, they discovered that the treehouse belongs to Morgan Le Fay. Morgan is a magical librarian from the time of King Arthur. She travels through time and space gathering books. In Magic Treehouse Book 5 to 8, Jack and Annie help free Morgan from a spell. In Books 9 to 12, they solved 4 ancient riddles and became master librarians. In Magic Treehouse Books 13 to 16, Jack and Annie had to save 4 ancient stories from being lost forever. Now, in Book 17, they are about to begin a new set of adventures.
Chapter 1. A New Mission.
Jack opened his eyes. It was a stormy night. The rain tapped hard on his window pane. "Do you hear what the rain is saying?" said a voice. Jack turned on his lamp. Annie stood in his doorway. She wore her rain poncho over his pajamas and held her flashlight. "It's saying, 'Come now,'" she said. "You're nuts," said Jack. "Listen, just listen," said Annie. Jack listened. The rain did seem to be tapping out. Come now, come now." "We have to go to the treehouse," said Annie. "Something important is about to happen." "How?" said Jack. Jack didn't want to leave his warm, cozy room, but he had a feeling Annie was right. Something important was about to happen. "You coming?" she said. Yeah, he said. He climbed out of bed. "Just put on your rain poncho," said Annie. Jack threw his rain poncho over his pajamas. He pulled on his sneakers and grabbed his backpack. "Don't forget your master librarian card," said Annie. "I have mine with me." Jack put the card with the glowing letters ML on it into his backpack. "I'm ready," he said. Jack and Annie went quietly down the stairs. Then they slipped out of the door into the chilly damp night. The storm had eased up. Rain fell gently as they ran up the street. The wet ground glistened in the beam of the flashlight. They headed into the Fall Creek woods. Wind blew through the trees, shaking water to the ground. Jack shivered, wiped raindrops off his glasses. "Burn," said Annie. "I'm cold." "Me too," said Jack. As they kept walking, Annie pointed the flashlight up into the trees. "There it is," she said. Her light had found the treehouse. "Morgan," Jack called. There was no answer. "I wonder what's wrong," said Annie. "I was sure she'd be here." "Let's go up and see," said Jack. Annie grabbed the rope ladder and started climbing. Jack followed. Rain dripped from the treehouse into poncho. They climbed into the treehouse. Annie shined her light into each corner. The first 3 corners were empty. Then the flashlight beam hit the 4th. Jack and Annie gasped with surprise. Sitting in the corner was a small dog. He looked like a terrier puppy. He had scruffy light brown fur. He stared sadly at Jack and Annie. "Oh," whispered Annie. "Where'd you come from?" said Jack. Annie patted the dog's head. He wagged his tail. "He's so cute," she said. "He looks like a little teddy bear. Hi, Teddy." Teddy was actually a good name for him, Jack thought. "Where did you come from, Teddy?" he asked. The little dog whimpered. "Don't be sad," said Annie. "Everything's okay." "How did you get up here?" Jack asked. "I don't know. But I bet Morgan had something to do with it,
said
said
Annie.
Annie. Jack's gaze fell on a piece of paper lying on the floor. I think you're right, he said. He picked up the paper. On it was a fancy writing that said, "This dog is under a spell and needs your help. To free him, you must be given 4 special things. A gift from a ship lost at sea. A gift from the prairie blue. A gift from a forest far away. A gift from a kangaroo. Be wise, be brave, be careful. Morgan. P.S. Your master librarian cards won't help in this mission. Just be yourself, and all will be well." "What kind of spell do you think Teddy is under?" said Annie. "You know?"
"Who knows?" said
said
Jack.
"Poor thing," said Annie. She patted the dog's head. He licked her hand. "It looks like we have to take 4 trips," said Jack. Teddy trotted over to a book. He pushed it with his nose. "Look," said Annie. "I bet that'll only take us on the first trip."
She
She picked up the book the little
dog
dog had chosen. "Good job, Teddy," she said. The title of the book was The Unsinkable Ship. "Well,
"Well, at least
that's good," said Jack. "The ship won't sink even if it's lost." "Ready, Teddy?"
asked
asked
Annie.
Annie. "Arf, arf," he answered. Jack pointed at the cover of the book. "I wish we could go there," he said. The wind started to blow. The treehouse started to spin. It spun faster and faster. Then everything was still. Absolutely still.
Chapter 2. The Unsinkable Ship.
Arf, arf. Jack opened his eyes. He shivered. Wherever they were now, it was cold, very cold. Teddy barked again. "Shh," said Jack. Annie shined a flashlight on her clothes. "Wow, we're dressed like old-fashioned kids," she said. Instead of pajamas and a poncho, she wore a sailor dress and a long wool cloak. Jack had a overcoat and knee-length pants with long socks, his backpack and turned to leather. He also had a shirt and tie. "Where are we?" he wondered aloud. Jack and Annie looked out the window. The moonless sky glittered with stars. There was a soft wind and the sound of water lapping. The treehouse seemed to be resting on a wooden deck between 2 giant columns. Jack looked up and saw smoke coming out of columns. "We must have landed in the ship between the smokestacks," he said. Then Jack straight ahead and saw bugs high in the air near the front of the ship. "That must be Lookout's nest," he said. Jack sat back in the treehouse and opened their book. Annie handed him the flashlight. "Let's find out where we are," he said. He turned to a picture and a huge ocean liner. By the light of the flashlight, he read, "Late at night on April 14, 1912, an English ocean liner was making her first voyage across the Atlantic Ocean. She was going to New York City, carrying 2,200 passengers. The ship was 4 city blocks long. Most people believed the ship was unsinkable." "Oh man, we're in 1912, said Jack. He pulled out his notebook and wrote, "April 14, 1912. "This ship is huge," said Annie. "How will we ever find the gift to help free Teddy?" "You can't go looking for a gift," said Jack. "You have to wait until someone gives it to you." "Right," said Annie with a sigh. "Well, I guess we just have to be ourselves, like Morgan said, and maybe we'll get lucky." "This is hard," said Jack. The little dog whined. "Don't worry, Teddy," said Annie. "We'll free you from a spell." Just then, a shout came from the Lookout's nest. "Iceberg ahead!" Jack and Annie turned back to the window, just in time to see a huge iceberg looming out of the sea. The iceberg was dark with a fringe of white at the top, and it was right in front of the ship. Jack felt a jolt. Then he heard a grinding sound. The ship was scraping against a mountain of ice. "Arf! Arf!" Teddy barked. "Shh! Don't be scared," said Annie. She picked the dog up and hugged him. The scraping sound stopped.
The ship
split iceberg and started lesson. The night was calm again. See? Annie said to Teddy. It was just a little bump. This ship was unsinkable. But Jack was worried. Wait, I have to read more about this, he said. Don't read now, Jack, said Annie. It's time to give gift. Come on, Teddy. She picked up the little dog and the flashlight, and she climbed out the treehouse window. Hey, don't take the flashlight, said Jack. But Annie was gone. Annie, called Jack. He heard a soft yikes. Annie stuck her head back in the treehouse. Bad news, she said in a whisper. I think we'd better see this. Jack threw himself into the knapsack. He put it on and climbed out the window. Annie was standing by the ship's railing, holding Teddy. Without a word, she shined a flashlight on a life preserver hanging from the railing. In big black letters were the words, RMS, Titanic. Chapter 3, SOS. Jack stared at the name of the ship. You know what happened to Titanic, don't you? He asked softly. Annie nodded. It is an iceberg and sank, she said. But I don't get it. I thought this ship was unsinkable. That's what people thought when the Titanic was built, said Jack. But they were wrong. Suddenly steam gushed out of the ship's smokestack. Then the engines cut off. The Titanic stopped moving. We'd better go home, said Jack. There's nothing we can do here. We'll have to find a lost ship, a safer one. No, we have to stay or help, said Annie. We can escape the house anytime we're done. What can we do? Said Jack. These ships are going to sink no matter what. We can't change history, and we can't take anyone into our time with us. Yeah, but maybe there's some way we can help, said Annie. How? Said Jack. I don't know, said Annie. Let's look around. Holding Teddy, he disappeared down the small stairway. Jack followed her to a lower level. Annie put Teddy down the deck. The dog sniffed and chunked his eyes that had fallen off the iceberg. The ship seemed strangely empty. Where is everyone? Annie asked. Maybe they're still asleep, said Jack. They probably don't even know ship hit something. Annie and Jack started toward the front of the Titanic. Come on, Teddy, said Annie. The little dog scampered after them. They passed the round windows of the different rooms of the ship. Jack looked through them as they went by. He saw exercise bikes and rowing machine in one room. In another there were palm trees, bamboo chairs, and tables. Next they passed a library filled with books. This ship is like a town, said Jack. Near the end of the deck, they peeked through another round window. Inside a little room, a man was wearing earphones. Jack heard a clicking noise as a man tapped a lever on the black box. What's he doing? whispered Annie. Jack shrugged. Another man stood nearby. He had a white beard and wore a fancy uniform. Send the international call for help, he ordered the man with headphones. Tell all ships to come at once. We're sinking. Yes, Captain, said the man. Great, they're calling for help, Annie whispered. Jack shook his head. I don't think help will come, he said. He shined the flashlight on the book and found a picture of the radio operator. He read quietly to Annie. After the Titanic hit the iceberg at 11:40 p.m., the ship's radio operator sent out the SOS. An SOS is International Distress Signal and Morse code. Unfortunately, the only ship near the Titanic had turned off the radio for the night. All the other ships who received the message were too far away to help. When the Titanic sank around 2:20 a.m., she was all alone. That's terrible, said Annie. I wonder what time it is now, said Jack. I don't know, said Annie. Jack pulled out his notebook and wrote, SOS sent out. Titanic sinks at 2:20 a.m. He's leaving, whispered Annie. Hide, whispered Jack. He and Annie moved quickly into the shadows. The captain stepped out of the deck. Tell the men to start loading the lifeboat now, the captain ordered the deckhand. Yes, Captain, the men answered. The captain and the deckhand laughed.
Annie turned
Annie
to
turned
Jack.
to Jack. At least that's good, she whispered. Everyone can get into the lifeboat. I don't think it's good enough, said Jack. He read from the book again. On the Titanic, there were 20 lifeboats. To save all the passengers, the ship needed twice as many. But with all the comforts on board, a number of the lifeboats were not even full with their ship. Many third-class passengers did not have a chance to get in any of the lifeboats because they were on the lower decks and didn't know where to go. Jack wrote in his notebook, "Need twice as many lifeboats." "Hey, I know what can we do to help," said Annie. "What?" asked Jack. "We can help someone find the lifeboats," she said. "You're right," said Jack. "With our book, we can find our way to the lower deck." He turned the page to a map of the ship. He and Annie studied it. "We'll start at the grand stairway," said Jack. He traced the path with his finger. "Then we'll go down the third-class cabins this way." "Good plan," said Annie. Jack looked back through the door. The radio operator was still tapping out his message over and over and over. "SOS," whispered Jack. He took a deep breath. Okay, he said. Let's go.
Chapter 4. Put on your life belts.
Jack and Annie slipped through a door off the boat deck. Teddy was at their heels. "Wow," breathed Annie. "Arf, arf, arf," Teddy barked. They were at the top of the empty grand stairway. It was beautiful. It had made of dark glossy wood. A huge dome of lights hung above it. At the top of the stair was a fancy clock. The hands of the clock were at 12:20. "Oh man, it's 20 minutes after midnight," said Jack. "The ship's going down in 2 hours." They hurried down the carpeted steps and into the first-class hallway. Teddy followed along. Jack looked at the map in the book. "These are the stair rooms," he said. "This hall will take us to third-class open deck." "Hey, look," said Annie. "The floor's sliding down." Jack caught his breath. She was right.
That means
the front of the ship is already sinking, he said. Just then a man in a white uniform came down the hall. He knocked on the doors. "Put on your life belts at once and come to the deck," he called. Men and women stumbled out of the rooms. They wore elegant robes made of shiny cloth and velvet. "What's going on?"
A
woman asked.
There's
"There's been an accident," the man in the uniform said cheerfully. "Oh, how silly," said the woman. "It's not silly," said Annie. "Do what he says." "Arf, arf," Teddy barked disagreeably with Annie. "Shh, Teddy," said Jack. He picked up the little dog. Then he and Annie hurried down the hall. They crossed the third-class open deck, where there were more people standing. These people were not dressed in fancy clothes. Most were plain dark clothes. They didn't seem worried either.
They were all
They were
joking
and laughing. Jack and Annie slipped through the crowd. They were in this big smoky room. 4 men were playing cards. A woman played the piano. The young couple danced to the music. "Put on your life belts and go to the boat deck," Annie shouted. The people looked at Annie in surprise. The card player smiled at her. She opened her mouth to yell again, but Jack put out his door. "Come on," he said. "We have to get down to the third-class cabin before it's too late." They hurried down the hall. They climbed down another stairway. Jack carried Teddy the whole way. At the bottom of the stairs, they rounded a corner, and they both gasped. The floor was really slanting down here, and water sloshed at the end of the hallway. "The Titanic is sinking,"
said Jack.
"But no one understands," said Annie. "Only 50 minutes left," said Annie. "We have to get back to the treehouse now," said Jack. "Let's climb stairs to the stone stacks." Suddenly, the front of the ship dipped down into the sea. Deck chairs started to slip Jack and Annie. The band played a slow, calm song. It sounded like a church hymn. But the crowd started to panic. People pushed and shouted, trying to get safer from the ship. It's every man for himself,
the captain shouted to all of his crew.
The men all stopped what they were doing and ran up the deck. Jack and Annie ran too. They dodged sliding tables and chairs. They reached the stairs and ran to the smokestacks. They grabbed the railing and pulling them up the steps. The ship tilted farther. Go to the smokestacks, cried Jack. They slipped and crawled down the deck. But when they got to the smokestacks, Jack and Annie looked around wildly. The magic treehouse was gone.
Chapter 9. Time stops.
Where is it? Shouted Annie. The front of the Titanic sank deeper into the sea. Jack and Annie fell forward. They grabbed the railing and held on their lives. Maybe the treehouse fell into the ocean, shouted Jack. A great roar started coming from the ship. Jack imagined everything crashing forward, all of the furniture, dishes, bicycles, and the grand coffee staircase. He looked down. A giant wave and water rolled over all of Jack. Jack imagined water floating the third-class corridor, the cardroom, and the grand staircase. He closed his eyes, waiting to be washed away. Arf! Arf! The barking came from the distance. "Teddy!" cried Annie. Jack forgot all about the dog. Holding on the railing, he used one hand to pull on his knapsack. Teddy wasn't there. There was more frantic barking. "Where's Teddy?" cried Jack. "He's calling us!" shouted Annie. "We can't look for him!" shouted Jack. "We'll fall into the ship." Teddy barked and barked. "He's close by," said Annie. She held on the railing and moved slowly down the deck. "Annie!" cried Jack. Suddenly the lights on the Titanic went out. The world was pitch dark. Jack couldn't see Annie at all. "Annie!" he shouted. He tried to move down the deck too, but the ship tilted again. Jack slipped and fell. He rolled until he crashed into the smokestack. "Jack!" cried Annie. "Here, here!" Teddy kept barking. The back of the Titanic was rising like the ocean. The front of the ship was going down. Jack tried to go around the smokestack without falling. In the dark, he could barely see the treehouse. It was stuck between the smokestack and the railing. It was lying on the side. Annie and Teddy were looking out the window. "Teddy's barking, let me hear!" cried Annie. "Hurry, Jack!" Jack crawled around the smokestacks. He held it in Annie. Annie grabbed it. She pulled it into the treehouse. Teddy licked his face. "I wish we could go home!" shouted Annie, pointing at the Pennsylvania book. Jack heard a loud crack. The wind started to blow. The treehouse started to spin. It spun faster and faster. Then everything was still. Absolutely still.
Chapter 10. A Touch of Magic.
"Oh, man," whispered Jack. He was lying on the floor of the treehouse. He was wearing his pajamas and rain poncho again. "You okay?" Annie asked. "Yeah, you?" said Jack. "My heart's beating really fast," said Annie. "Mine too," said Jack. He thought of the Titanic sinking into the cold black sea. His eyes filled with tears. "It was terrible," he said. Annie nodded. Jack could see tears on his cheeks. Teddy licked his dark face. "Hey," said Jack. "How did you get out of the knapsack?" Teddy whined. Jack and Annie stroked his forehead and ears. "I think he has a touch of magic," said Annie. Slowly Jack sat up. "He saved our lives," he said. "And now we have the first gift to break the spell he's under," said Annie. She turned on the flashlight. She shined it on the silver pocket watch that hung from her neck. "Lucky's gift," she said. The watch had stopped. The hands were at 2:20. Jack was silent. Then he sighed. "That's exactly what should have been done," he said. Annie looked at him. "I guess that's when time stops for the Titanic," she said. Jack nodded. Annie put the pocket watch on top of Morgan's note. A gift from a ship I lost at sea, she said softly. They were both quiet. Then Jack took off his glasses and wiped the tears from his eyes. Annie stood up. She took a deep breath. I'm ready to go, she said. Let's put teddies in your pockets and take them with us. She shined the flashlight around the treehouse. Teddy? She said. There was no sign of the little dog. He's not here, said Annie. What are you talking about? Said Jack. We were just petting him. He's up to magic tricks again, said Annie. She sighed. We'll have to go home without him. But what happened to him? Said Jack. I don't know, said Annie. But I have a feeling we'll see him again soon. She started down the rope ladder. Jack looked around the treehouse one last time. Teddy? He said. But the treehouse was quiet. Jack pulled out his backpack and climbed down the rope ladder. Annie was waiting for him. Without a word, Jack took her hand. The rain had stopped, but the water still dripped from the trees. Stars glittered over the clear sky. Silently, Jack and Annie left the Rockery woods. They walked up the dark streets to their house and climbed into the steps of the porch. Before they went inside, they looked up again at night. Time might stop the Titanic, Jack said. But books and memories keep the Titanic alive, don't they? It's a true story, but it's also like a myth now. Yeah, said Annie. And every time the story is told, we wish it had a different ending. Jack nodded. That was exactly how he felt. Started at the starry sky, he shuddered at the memories of the sinking ship. He knew when Annie were lucky, they had come home. Good night, Titanic, he said softly. Goodbye. Then he and Annie slipped quietly into their house, where it was cozy and dry and very safe. 네, 이게 마지막 챕터의 마지막 장이었습니다. 다음 영상도 기대해주세요. 새해 복 많이 받으세요. 감사합니다.